This is not anti-Muslim. It's about fairness. And now 2 high schools in Minneapolis are adding a prayer room and a foot washing station for Muslim students at both schools. It's right in the blueprints. Liz Collin is the journalist from Alpha News who broke the story, and Alex Pluckish is the chairman of the Minnesota Republican Party. It's great to have you both here. Liz, take us through what these schools are doing and who is paying for all of this.
Yeah, this is something that came to our attention that we posted about recently. They are actual architectural drawings, the blueprints themselves in the Osseo School District, pretty large school district in Minnesota. I think the 5th largest, in fact, right outside of Minneapolis. But the blueprints clearly spell out prayer room in one high school and foot washing station. That's how they're labeled for another high school. So 2 high school projects going on. That report went viral. The district gave us, interestingly enough, one response. They seemed to change their tone when parents started calling after our report, and they said that the blueprints were mislabeled. That's how they went ahead and changed their response. But taxpayers footed the bill for these plans. And in fact, we now know through some data requests as well that the community had no chance to weigh in on these blueprints. They were never presented to the blueprints. And the district says that's because of safety concerns, and they never do that with their construction plans.
Okay, I want to get back to the mislabeling part of the conversation. And these are taxpayer-funded spaces. By the way, at least that's our understanding. Mr. Chairman, public schools are government institutions that are required by law under the First Amendment to remain neutral when it comes to religion. So why is this legally being allowed at these 2 schools?
Well, first off, thank you for having me. And I think that's a good question. I mean, state schools are obviously considered state-sponsored institutions, and we have this concept of the separation of church and state, and this certainly seems to be a commingling of that. And in the plans that were uncovered here, it clearly favors one religion over just a general religion. So right. I think that's a good question. We should be pushing back on it.
Yeah, it's like, are these schools going to install like Catholic confessionals or chapels or like rivers flowing through the gym for baptisms? Liz, I want to get back to the blueprints, and I don't know if we can put those back up. So they were labeled clearly. They told parents that they were mislabeled and should have been called multi-purpose spaces. I don't know how a foot washing station turns into a multi-purpose space. Like, it's not like foot washing station, Liz, becomes like bubbler or water fountain.
Yeah, Rob, I think they're referring to the prayer room. They quickly tried to kind of backpedal their response with that to parents anyway. They did confirm to us this is a multi-purpose space that could be used for prayer. Is what they sort of told us. But then they went ahead and said, no, these are mislabeled. But again, these are the actual architectural drawings themselves. But it seems like a lot of stories that we break in Minnesota, we're attacked for the story rather than the actual factual information that was presented. And that's certainly been the case here. But this is an ongoing issue that Osseo parents really had no idea about. It's quite clear before our reporting.
Yeah, by the way, put up a crucifix in those multi-purpose prayer rooms then. Let's see you do that, and then we can call it multi-purpose. Mr. Chairman, again, just back to the First Amendment, because you're the chairman of the Republican Party out there. Schools may not, this is a quote, endorse Christianity, Islam, Judaism, Hinduism, or any other faith in schools. Why is Minneapolis unique, special, or any different from the rest of the country? I do not understand this.
Well, I think you've seen a lot of news reporting over the past year about how it is different in that sort of way. What I would like to say is that rather than getting into something as controversial as putting in a prayer room or foot washing stations, which clearly biased toward one religion, why not let's focus on what schools are all about in the first place, which is to instruct our students and raise their competency in things like reading and mathematics. That's what schools are all about. Why not let's focus on that? I mean, I remember Minnesota used to be near the top of academic performance for years, decades. And since I've moved here, our scores have declined dramatically in the past decade. We're now at, I think, 26th or 27th in reading proficiency when adjusted for demographics, and we're 39th in mathematics. I mean, that's ludicrous.
Yeah, because people are worried about foot washing stations in public schools. Liz, I've got 15 seconds. What's the next step here to make sure this doesn't happen?
Well, I think parents are pushing back. They're in the process of that. We expect this to come up at a school board meeting, and we'll keep tracking it over at Alpha News.
All right. Keep us posted. Great work, as always. Good to see you both. Liz Collin, Alex Pluckish, thank you.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.